My name is Marianne. I'm 74 years old and I'm the mother of this one here.
My name is Brian and I've got epilepsy and a little bit of a disability.
Get a phone call of him saying that he wasn't feeling very well. I says, where are you? I'm at the bus stop. It's not very far away, right? I'm at the bus stop. I says, are you well enough to come home? Yes. So I waited and waited. 5 minutes later, he still wasn't home. So I got in the car and I whizzed round the corner where the bus stop was. And there was the bus. And Brian was inside the bus. And to cut a long story short, apparently he had a fit while getting on the bus. And he fell backwards off the bus. What they found out at the hospital was his iron levels were very low and his blood pressure was very, very low. And they sort of, prescribed medicine, took him back home, but he really didn't pick up. He was just not well and he was feeling dizzy all the time. One morning, his bedroom is right next to mine. One morning he shouted, "Mom!" So I jumped out of bed and he was sitting on the toilet and there was a trail of feces from his bedroom. I can tell that, can I, Brian?
Yes.
It's important. It's important, isn't it?
Yes.
And there was a trail of feces from his bedroom to the toilet with big things of blood in. I phoned our doctor. And he says, well, bring him down to the surgery. I says, he can't stand up by himself. I phoned the ambulance, who came quite quickly, maybe half an hour. And they insisted taking him to Sunderland Hospital because they thought he had a stroke. And I says, no, he hasn't, well, they have got their rules and regulations, what they have to do. Anyway, we were all day in Sunderland, the stroke clinic, and then they let him go. And then the second time we ended up at the stroke clinic, right, they were going to admit him. I says, he hasn't had a stroke. And they said, well, I don't no, maybe not. I says, could he be taken back to South Shields Hospital, our hospital here? And well, in the end, they let him go. And the following day, he was booked in for an MRI scan anyway. What happened was then, he had the MRI scan and then he said he could go home. Brian, am I getting that right, more or less?
More or less, yes.
And then I think it was a Thursday morning, we had to go to the outpatients, where they do the colonoscopy. And she came and she says they found a growth on Brian's right-hand side of the bowel. And they needed to operate. And but it was contained. But they knew it was contained. And then we got a letter saying that the next Thursday they were going to operate. What happened? He's had a massive big fit. They couldn't operate. Can you remember that?
Okay.
And so, we'll do it next Thursday. I says, can he come the night before into hospital? I says, I don't know what to do if he has another fit and I can't get him, to the hospital in time. Yeah, they allowed that because, Pauline, you've met Pauline, haven't you? She was a big help. If I didn't have Pauline there, I would have just gone. I was so stressed and worried, you've got no idea. I've never been so stressed and worried in my life. And there was Pauline. You see, Pauline was the one, she sort of, if we had a question or we both, Brian and I, we didn't understand something, she was the one, she could go to the nurses or even the doctors and ask, what's going on and what is going on and what will be going on and that sort of thing, which at my, I was in a quite state, I don't think I wasn't brave enough actually at that time. I wouldn't have, I don't know, it was weird, it was stressful, very stressful, frightening, very frightening. And then they operated the next day And when after the operation, the Mr. Singh came and he says it looks very, very good, because he thinks they got everything. And the nurses came, the community nurses came out every day to have a look, and everybody is happy with him now. He's actually recovered really very well. They're very, very happy with him. The big challenges actually was, I thought there could have been a bit more conversation between the nurses maybe, but no, it's difficult to explain. Well, they were giving Brian all these informations, and Brian forgot. Brian couldn't remember, could you, all this? I asked him, right, what have they said? I don't know, I forgot. I sometimes feel as if people with learning disabilities, they're not worth to be sort of spoken to or explained to. That's in my experience. Not very often. You know, give him the time, give him the chance. He's worth it.
Yeah.
What I can see, and Brian can answer that as well, all in all, was good.
Yeah.
All in all, it was good. There's little things that, if in my mind, needed or could be ironed out. You know, if you've got somebody with learning disabilities, you've got to give that extra time. You've got to.